G'day guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. Tonight's going to be something a little bit different. I said yesterday after my latest review, that I was going to do a top 10 films of Spain. Now this is kind of a series I'm doing. I've already done Scandinavia and France, and I'm going to go through all my foreign collection and not only include horror, but these are going to be films of all genres. So I've got my list of Spanish films today. Hopefully you find this video interesting and maybe pick up a few new titles here and there. Not all of them are horror, but the most of them are. So hopefully, all of these are in Spanish language, English subtitles, so if you don't mind subtitles, hopefully you find this video interesting. So I'm going to start off at number 10 and go all the way down to what I believe is the best Spanish film in my collection. So if I've missed out any films, then I'm sorry, but either I haven't seen it or I just didn't rate it that well. So anyway, I'm going to get straight into it. Number 10, we're going to start off with a suspenseful film called King of the Hill. Now, this director has since gone from Spain to Hollywood. He made a film called Apollo 18, so he's been recognised for his efforts, especially from this film. I haven't seen any of his other films apart from Apollo 18, so I can't really judge him yet as to whether or not he's a great director. But this was a really good film, very, very suspenseful, and it really showed a very real message of today's society. So I actually think it's a very important film. So it has a lot of layers. Just good old-fashioned suspense. It has a little bit of blood, but blood is not where it exceeds. It exceeds in the expectation, the suspense, and not knowing what's next. So if you like suspenseful films, I'm definitely recommending this one. So this gets number 10, King of the Hill. Number 9 is a prison movie, so it's not a horror film. I saw this a while ago, directed by Daniel Monzon, and this is called Cell 211. If you like prison films, you're going to really like this one. It has a very heartbreaking ending. I didn't see the ending coming, so it's not predictable. So if it sounds like something for you, I highly recommend it. I actually think it's a very underrated film, so go and see it if you haven't done so already. Once again, Spanish language, English subs, so if you don't mind that, then I definitely recommend you get it. It's a lot better than the majority of prison films out there. I'm not so much a fan of them, but this one I actually was. I actually found it quite, had a very, very devastating impact. So that's number 9, Cell 211. Number 8, we go to Jaime Balaguero's first film. Now, for those of you who are familiar with Rec, the movie Rec and Rec 2, Jaime Balaguero directed them. But before Rec came this film. It was made in 1998, so quite a while before Rec, and this is called The Nameless. If you like Martyrs, the French extreme film, you're probably going to like this one. It's not as brutal as Martyrs, but it centers around pain and a cult that specialize in pain. So it's about this guy, this woman whose child was murdered 8 years ago, and then all of a sudden she gets a phone call 8 years later saying, "Mummy, come and get me." So she has to go into this very disturbing world of this cult that are obsessed with pain and basically like Martyrs, but it's different in the same sense. I mean, it's definitely a film that warrants its originality, but as I said, if you like films like Martyrs and that disturbing atmosphere, it's nowhere near as brutal as Martyrs, but if you like the disturbing atmosphere that Martyrs had, this one has a similar one. Some people say it's a Spanish version of Martyrs. I don't think that's fair. I actually think it's a lot different, but it has the same sort of idea, but although it's very vague. So that's number 8, The Nameless. 7, we have a time travel film. Once again, not a horror movie. I actually found this to be one of the most fun films I've seen in a long time. That is Time Crimes. Now, if you like the British movie called Triangle, you're going to really like this one. This one was made before Triangle, and Triangle borrows a hell of a lot of ideas from Time Crimes. In fact, I'd go as close to say Triangle is nearly a remake of this film. Although it's a different sort of story, they're not on a boat in this one, it still follows a very similar story. So if you've seen Triangle and you liked it, then chances are you're going to really like this one. I feel that this one is a lot more basic than Triangle, but to me, it's a hell of a lot better. So that's number 7, Time Crimes. Number 6 is a very, very cruel film. This is extreme, just really gut-wrenching, as it says on the front. And it's one of the most hardcore movies I've seen in a very long time, especially when it comes to Spanish cinema. And this is the home invasion film called Kidnapped. Just a really cruel film, heartbreaking, just devastatingly depressing. Basically, these 3 Albanians break into this house, demand money, and when the family don't have enough, they basically they want more, and it pretty much goes on from there. It's just a really, really hard film to watch. It's extreme. It's the most extreme in this collection. So definitely go into it with a lot of caution, but if you like your extreme cinema, this is one that you are going to remember for a very long time. So that's number 6, Kidnapped. Number 5, we go to a film that's very similar to The Orphanage. Not so much the storyline, but the suspense levels. It's Guillermo del Toro production. He didn't direct it, so be very careful of that. But it has the same main actress, Belen Ruda, who I'm a very big fan of. She's a very good-looking woman for her age, and this is called Julia's Eyes. Just good old-fashioned Hitchcock suspense. It's what you don't, the anticipation of what's going to happen is what makes this film so good. Has a little bit of shocking violence in it as well, but it does rely on atmosphere. I actually thought the atmosphere was very, very good. So if you like films like The Orphanage, you're definitely going to like this one. So that's number 5, Julia's Eyes. Number 4, Belen Ruda, once again. This one is The Orphanage. This is a classic. A lot of people talk about it. It's a ghost film, mystery film, I should say, more so than a ghost film, but it's done really, really well. A lot of attention to detail. So if you like your spooky kind of films, this one is definitely one to get. So that's number 4, The Orphanage. 3, we have 2 films. I've decided to keep these films together as one because they're both as good as each other, and it's more of a continuation, the second one, to the first one. So not so much a sequel in my view, but more so just a continuation of a big film, and that is Rec 1 and 2. As I said earlier, Wame Balaguerro, he directed The Nameless. These are his films afterwards. Rec 1 and 2, they're just as good as each other. Really fast-paced, insane action, and genuinely scary, which is rare in horror films these days. This one will actually crawl under your skin. This has a very soft spot for me. I love this film, and it has tremendous replay value. I never get bored of these films. That's Rec 1 and 2, coming in at number 3. Now, number 2. This is an incredible movie. It's about clowns set in a circus, and this is called The Last Circus. Alex de la Iglesia, who directed Perdita Durango. Haven't seen that film, but I've been told it's a cult classic. This one is brilliant. I loved it. Very, very surreal. It's nightmarish. It's brutal, and it's basically about 2 clowns competing over an acrobat who's working at the same circus. One of the clowns is a psychopath, and the other clown turns into a psychopath. So, if you like your disturbing, surreal films, this one is a must. I actually consider this a masterpiece. So that's number 2, The Last Circus. And then number 1, well, is there any surprise to this one? You probably know what it's going to be. Guillermo del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth. This is a flawless film. It will stand the test of time. It's one of the most important films that any foreign collector can have. It's just brilliant. And words can't do this film justice. Please go out there and see it if you haven't done so already. It's beautiful. It's brutal. It's just everything that you want in a movie. Just perfection. Spanish film masterpiece. It's a treasure, and yeah, I can't really do justice to it. You're gonna have to watch it to find out for yourself. But it definitely deserves my number 1 spot. That is Pan's Labyrinth for my Films of Spain collection, or top 10. So that's it for Spain. I'll be moving on to Germany, I think, Germany/Austria, or it could be just, I don't know, somewhere else in the world. I will do one later on. So hopefully you enjoyed this top 10 films of Spain. Hopefully you got a few new titles in here. So until next time, keep watching movies. Sorry, let me start again. I'm very tired. I played hockey all day yesterday and Friday night, so I'm kind of jumbling my words up, so forgive me for that. But anyway, that's it. Before I make any more mistakes, I'm just going to stop this video. So until next time, take care of yourselves, keep watching movies, and I'll see you.